Hey y'all, welcome back to the Burrow. I'm Hillary, your resident fragrance loving muggle. So here in Kentucky today, it is nice and warm. It's already 62 and I think it's going to get up to almost 70 degrees today. And as you can tell, it is pretty darn sunny. So I figured I would wear a nice fresh fragrance. And so my scent of the day today is going to be I Am Trash by Etat Libre. Now this is one of the first upcycled fragrances, which means that they actually took some ingredients from that were leftovers from the culinary industry and the fragrance industry and repurposed those, put them back through the mill basically and to make new oils that they could use in their product. So this contains notes of rose neo absolute, apple, wild strawberry, atlas cedar, sandalwood, akigala wood, isoe super, and this is just one of the easiest to wear clean fragrances. Isoe Super is a very easy to understand molecule, I think. You just feel crisp and clean. It's a little bit woody. And then with those crisp apple and strawberry accents on this just makes this so bright. And this fragrance lasts for me for a decent while. Sometimes I feel like I can't smell it anymore after about the 2-hour mark, but other people say that they can smell it on me, which is not uncommon for different types of molecular fragrances. But this one is beautiful, and it's a decent price. I think that this 30 ml bottle, I think it runs like $48 or something like that on Lucky Scent. So not a bad price. Great crisp, clean fragrance, and perfect for if you're going to be, getting sweaty or in a humid environment like I'm going to be here in just a minute because I'll be working on a poodle. So, so that is my scent of the day. I Am Trash by Etat Libre. Let me know what your scent of the day is. And like I said, I'm getting ready to work on a poodle. If there are any other pet grooming questions that you guys have for me, be sure to drop those down in the comments below, and I'll see what I can do to answer those in my coming videos. So, yep, I'll catch y'all later. Bye. Hey swag fans, so I'm back today with a different one of my puppers, and this is Frisbee. If you're thinking she looks like a ragamuffin, well, you're not wrong. She looks a little bit crazy. The old saying, a cobbler's children have no shoes, is 100% true, but it's finally her turn to get taken care of, and we're going to tidy up this mop. So, a few different prep things that we're going to do real quick. I'm going to pluck her ears, and I'm going to shave her sanitary. So those are a couple other things that you guys can do at home. So plucking ears. Plucking ears is something that is only used for dogs that have what is called an undetermined coat growth pattern. And an undetermined coat growth pattern would be a dog like a poodle, any of your doodles, Yorkies, Maltese, Shih Tzus, any of those coats that continue growing and just never stop. A determined coat growth pattern, however, is something like a lab or a shepherd or a golden. Even so, some of these dogs still have longer coats, but at some point they will stop growing. Those are usually dogs that are more, that you notice they're shedding more. Technically, curly-coated dogs also shed. If anybody tells you that your dog is hypoallergenic, that is not true. They just shed more like humans. So yeah, if we brush our hair, some hair comes out. Same thing with poodles. Okay, so undetermined coat growth dogs. When we were selectively breeding these pets to have these coats that did not naturally exist, we weren't really paying attention to where it caused other coat bits to grow. So for a dog like Frizzle, ew, you have something in your face, gross. Yeah, so for a dog like Frizz, she grows a lot of coat in her ears. Now, some veterinarians will say not to pluck it. Some of them will say to pluck it. And my personal opinion is, I do like to pluck the hair, but I usually only pluck what is blocking the ear canal because I want to make sure that there's a good amount of healthy ventilation making it into the ear. Now, some of the reasons I think that people feel that plucking ear hair can cause more ear infections is because the old way of plucking ears was actually using hemostats and grabbing a large amount of hair, twisting the hemostat, and then yanking it out. Now, that sounds terrible. And if you were to pull that many individual hairs out of the ear at one time, that would obviously cause an open wound. And an open wound and a moist and warm environment is a perfect breeding ground for yeast. Plus, if you have, if you have a big abrasion that's left by pulling all that hair out, and then say you cleaned the ear with alcohol, which stings, then the dog would shake its head a lot. And then the excessive amount of head shaking would cause hematomas on the ears. So those are a lot of issues that could happen from doing this improperly. So if you don't feel comfortable with plucking ears, don't do it. Wait for your groomer. Nothing bad is going to happen. But if you have a dog like Frisbee who grows a ridiculous amount of ear hair, and if I don't pluck it regularly, she can get ear infections, I'll go ahead and show you how to do it. So the first thing that you're going to need is ear powder. Now, I just use this Ear Fresh from BioGroom. You can use any brand of ear powder. You can get ear powder at any of your local pet stores. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just put a little bit of ear powder within the ear. I'll probably show you guys what that looks like. Bloop. Try not to throw the camera. Okay, so I just put a little bit of ear powder there. We don't want to put a ton of ear powder in there because we don't want it to just have a ton of ear powder sitting in the ear canal. That's not necessary. The purpose of this ear powder is solely to add grip. So that is just for us to be able to grab it. So anything that is over the ledge on the inside of the ear is what we're going to be plucking out. And you guys will be able to see this once I pluck the other side. So most of these hairs come out really easily. And we don't call this live coat. It kind of just, it's like a different texture than the rest of the hair. It's kind of dry and brittle. Now I'm using my fingers to pull this hair out, and I am only reaching in as far as I can see. I am not just going to put my fingers down in there blind all willy-nilly and try to yank around because that's going to hurt. We are only going to be pulling what we can see right on the outside and what is blocking the ear canal. So I will show you what it looks like now here in just a second. So a freshly plucked ear looks like this. So I have just gotten all of the hair that is past this little ledge right here and is just blocking the ear canal. All right, and now we're going to do the other side. So I flip her ear over. Girl, Frizz. So there we have a cleaned ear. So now that we have plucked the ears, I need to go ahead and clean them. That way I can get that excess powder that might be left in the ear, go ahead and get that out. And it is even more important now than even just for a normal ear cleaning that I use a ear cleaner product that does not contain alcohol because I don't want it to sting if there was any irritation caused within the ear. And so you can either use, a normal ear cleaner if you have it, or witch hazel, another great choice. One of the issues that you'll start to notice once it's been longer than normal for your pet between grooms is that the dogs are getting more and more poop stuck to their behinds. And that is because we shave pet sanitaries. Because this coat, like on a dog like Dimples, like I did yesterday, her coat by her bum does not grow into her rectal area. So that's fine. However, for a dog like a poodle, it will grow and it will cover the opening to the rectum. So we have to clipper the coat away from it. Now, this is not the safest procedure for somebody who does not know what they're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some tips. If you don't feel comfortable with it, maybe use scissors, maybe just don't do it, maybe just use a warm rag and try to keep that area clean until a vet or until a groomer can do it for you. But so as we're talking about the rectum, you're going to imagine that the rectum itself is a compass, and you're going to sit the inside of your blade. It's going to hover over the rectum. Now we're not going to press down because the skin around the rectum is very, very easy to cut. So what we're going to do, hovering over that rectal area, is we are only going to go in the directions west, east, north, and north. Okay. So once we are on the rectum and we cross over to the west, we touch down just enough to cut that hair back that is going to be coming from that side over top of the rectum. And then again, east, Now, we don't go south because on a dog's rectum, there is a little lip on the bottom middle. And if we go south while doing the sanitary, it is almost guaranteed that your clipper will catch it and it will cut it. And your dog won't like it, and you won't like it, and it's a mess, and you don't want to do that. So, yes, west, east, north, north. And so, again, we do not touch down in the middle of the rectal area. We are only touching down where the coat is actually growing once we pass over the edge of the rectum. Okay, so I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. All right, so here is her rectum. Clippers on. We're using a 10 blade. Again, I'm in the middle, only touching down right where I hit the side. Okay, west. There's east. Here's north. Right at the bottom lip, and you can see where that lip would be if I was going to accidentally cut it. And then the top bit, north. Okay? So there is her cleared out rectal area. Okay? Now, they also have a, let me try to zoom back out. So they also, for the girl dogs, they also need to have their vulvar area cleared out. So with a vulva, you only go left and right across it. So only from one side of the leg to the other. You cannot go frontwards or backwards over the vulva, or it will get stuck in the clipper, and that is bad news. You do not want that. You can't be doing that. So only left and right over the vulva. The reason we have to keep that area cleaned is because, you know, whenever they urinate, that can cause gunky buildup in that coat, and that coat can end up matting around the entire vulva, and that can cause really, really bad infections. That can keep them from being able to urinate fully. It's just not good. So the best way to clipper that for a larger dog like this is to keep the tail out of the way, lift the foot up, and just go left and right, easy, right over top of the vulva. And so that cleared out her vulva area. Now, we do shave the sanitary, which is the whole underbelly area here in between the legs, but that's a little bit harder for me to show you guys on camera, and I would say it's a bit less necessary right now for at-home maintenance. If we end up being quarantined for a very long time, then maybe we will, I'll look into that and showing you guys how to do it, but for just for at-home maintenance sake, that is not the most necessary thing you guys need to concentrate on. Now for boys, you would shave the penis area, and lots of times you would stand them up to shave up the shaft of the penis, but she's a girl. I only have girl dogs, actually. My business partner does have a boy poodle, so I could maybe show you guys that at a later date if you need it. But again, that's not the safest thing to do if you don't know what you're doing and are not used to holding clippers. So clearing out the rectal area is probably the most important part. That way they are able to poop. And, you know, she's a pooper, so it's good to make sure that she can go to the restroom whenever she wants to and not bring it in and, like, sit on my bed and have poop attached to her butt because, you're nasty. So next, I'm going to show you guys probably the both most requested thing by clients for assistance and also the most asked for me not to do because it's gross. So I'm going to show you guys how to express anal glands. So if you don't want to see this, skip ahead. It's fine. If not, I mean, it's science. You'll be okay. Really? Okay. So you may be wondering, what exactly are anal glands? Well, anal glands they're basically like these sacs that sit on either side of the rectum. And so in, say, a wolf, they would have them to help mark their territory. So every time they go number 2, this fluid is expressed as they poop, and that is what marks their territory. It's similar to like in skunks where they have the fluid, and but when they get nervous they can kind of shoot it out, that sort of thing. Yeah, dogs same way. When they get nervous, lots of times you'll smell something fishy in the air, and that's because they have expressed their anal glands a little bit. So most of your large breeds like shepherds and goldens and things like that, they're able to express their anal glands naturally because they are not bred all that far from their wolf origins. However, dogs, like small breed dogs and maybe curly coated breeds, they have had a lot more selective breeding. Just like where we said, made coats start growing in the ears, it made their anal glands not function as well. So we have to express them. If we don't express them, then there can be so much buildup that they're not able to properly defecate, because it kind of blocks the rectum and they can't get the poop out all the way. So not all poodles have that issue. Frisbee, however, does. And not all small dogs are not able to express their anal glands. Sometimes you'll notice dogs like beagles and bassets have the worst amount of anal gland buildup, and that could be because they always have their noses in things and are breathing in a lot more like allergens and things like that cause excess anal gland buildup, or it could just be that they're more predisposed to having more anal gland fluid because they also produce quite more oil and things like that on their skin. So anal gland fluid. So how do you express it, and how do you know if a dog needs it? If a dog has been scooting, then that is probably a sign that their booty is a little bit uncomfortable. We as groomers check the anal glands every time we groom. Now, that does not mean that I am expressing them all the way. I only express externally. If I was just going to check it, I just check to see how full the glands are. If I can't feel the glands just by touching, then I know that they're expressing them just fine on their own and I don't need to intervene. So you can do anal glands a couple different ways at home. If you want to give your dog a full bath, thank you for giving me your foot. If you want to give your dog a whole bath, you absolutely can. I like to do that, and then, go ahead and put a little bit of shampoo around the rectal area. That way, when I express the glands, the smell doesn't seep into the coat and attach before I get a chance to wash it off. However, you can, do just expressing the anal glands and then spray it off and, put a little bit of soap on it and hope it's good. But I prefer, if I'm already messing with booty juice, I'm going to go ahead and do a full bath while I'm at it because I'm already in the tub. Why not, do the whole shebang? So I'm going to go ahead and get her soaped up, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Okay, so how do we express anal glands? Now, the most important thing here is we need to pull the tail straight up. Now, you don't want to put a ton of pressure on this tail because the tail is an extension of the pet's spine, so you don't want to make them uncomfortable. But pulling the tail up, and you can watch that, pulls the rectum out. Now, the sacs sit on either side of the rectum. We don't want to squeeze too close to the rectum because that'll literally be aggravating to the rectum itself. We are squeezing behind, so I'm about a ½ inch back on each side here. And I'm just going to push, and I'm going to pull and squeeze out like toothpaste. Ooh, that went everywhere. Oh my God, it's on the camera. Oh no. Okay, well, I'm going to have to rinse that off and then clean my camera. But, so, obviously her anal glands were very full. Oh, that is disgusting. So that didn't go as planned. Now that there's anal glands all over my phone. But you got to see how to do it. Basically, the key pointers were squeeze on either side of the rectum. You're about a ½ inch back on the side. That way you're kind of behind a sac and you're squeezing it like you're relieving a tube of toothpaste. So I'm going to get her scrubbed off, and I'm going to add some more soap to that because that smelled nasty. And we'll go on from there. So Frisbee is all finished with her bath. She has a happy hoodie on, so she's prepared for drying. And I'm going to spray her down with a finishing spray. This will help her to dry a little faster. It also acts as a detangling solution, like a leave-in conditioner. It helps to provide protection from the sun so their coats don't get sunburnt. It does a whole bunch of different things. So I'm going to coat her in this, and then I'm going to get her dry. Safety first.
One eternity later.
Okay, so Frisbee is nice and clean and dry. So next, it's time to brush. Now, I had some people ask yesterday, I talked about using a rubber brush with shedding dogs, but they were asking about their doodles that do shed really heavily. And so instead of a rubber brush for that kind of coat, although that will help in some areas, you are going to be using the same tools that I'm using here. The same goes for somebody asked about Shelties. Any of your shedding dogs that have a longer coat where you feel like the rubber brush isn't getting it all out, slicker brush and a comb are going to be your big weapons. There are, larger slicker brushes. Frisbee doesn't really have that long of a coat, so she doesn't need anything like this right now except for maybe on her top knot. So a lot of people, when they brush, they immediately will take a brush and they'll just go straight down the back of a dog like this. And that doesn't do really anything because that is top brushing. You're only getting the top bits. So instead we need to do what is called line brushing, which basically is where we lift the coat up and we brush an area and then we slowly add more and more coat to what we're doing. And that way we're kind of doing little bits at a time and we're pulling all of that curl out because that curl is what causes matting. Because that curl, just wraps around all the different hairs. It traps, sometimes it traps dander, it can trap oil, it can trap grass, it can trap other hairs, and those turn into like little dreadlocks, things like that. So the goal is to get the undercoat out. Now the goal is to get the curl out. Now on a poodle, you can actually brush against the grain too to help assist in getting that curl out of there. But for Frizz, her coat's not really that long, so it's not super, super necessary. So I'm just going to get her brushed out all over. I'm going to do that line brushing on the places where the coat is thickest. And then once I have her brushed out, I will run a comb through it, just to make sure that all of these areas are fully brushed out. Now, if a comb cannot get through the coat, neither can a longer blade. A lot of people will ask us to, if they see that their dog has matting, they'll be like, yeah, can you just cut out the mats and then, leave it long? That's just not how it works, because even if they don't think that it's matted on the top, if the mats are there, they're starting at the bottom. And so in order for us to get those mats out, we have to clipper it beneath those mats, which makes their coat be really short. So if you cannot get a comb through your dog, through their coat, my blade also can't do it. So you definitely have to make sure that you can comb out every inch of this pet. And don't forget about different areas like the armpits. People constantly forget that the armpits exist. If dogs wear harnesses, that whole armpit up over the back of the withers here, all of that gets matted really, really easily. So make sure that your comb can go through everywhere and your dog will have a nice haircut when it's time for a groomer to do it. So Frisbee's all finished. Did I put some big gaudy bows in her ears? Yes, I did. Do I regret it? Not even a little bit. So I hope you guys were able to get a couple, tips or pointers to take away from this video today. And let me know if there's anything else you want me to cover next time. So you guys have a great day. Say see you later, Frizzle. Peace out. Bye.